Hello guys, welcome back to another Walking Dead review. Today we'll be reviewing Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 16. And this episode is the mid-season finale, so it's definitely a big episode. And I would say it's definitely a bigger episode than the previous mid-season finale we had for Episode 8. That was a terrible mid-season finale. This, I'm just going to say, is a pretty good mid-season finale because it does feel like a mid-season finale. So what exactly happens in this episode? This episode is broken up into, I would say, three parts, three perspectives. You have the two connected ones, which is Daryl's perspective of what's going on, and Maggie's perspective of what's going on with Lance just trying to kill Maggie and take over Hilltop. And then you have the unconnected, like nothing's connected to this one, the comic perspective with Max. I thought Max was quite good as kind of be a lead of a plot, and it kind of worked. Also, as is the mid-season finale, there is lots of action. If you really like watching action on The Walking Dead, this is an action-heavy episode. Saying two of the three kind of plots focus solely on just action-heavy, you will love this episode. If you just focus about the action, you might be like, oh, the pacing's slightly ruined by the focus to Max's like plot, where there's zero action. You might be like, oh, the pacing's a bit off, but I think it helps with the pace. Imagine if you just had action all the time, you would just feel like it's going too fast. And I feel like the third plot does help this slow it down a little because it was going too fast, otherwise if there'd be too much action. It's a very action heavy episode, and the pacing is really good. This is the best pacing we've had in a really long time. I say since episode 13 this has been the best pacing. I didn't like 15 and 14's pacing as much, but this is like on par levels like with 13's pacing. So it's great pacing, great action. The acting is great. I would also say the music is outstanding this episode. I love the music this episode. I'm one of those people who do notice music, and this episode's music stands out against all the other episodes. Because I do notice it when like, oh, I like the sinister music they're using for Lance. But no, everything with this music is amazing. And I loved the Reaper music theme, and it's back for this episode, and it's just amazing. Everything about this music is amazing. It looks amazing. There's some cool shots with like Lance flipping coins and you see the coin flip in the air, and I was like, that's pretty cool. So there's some cool shots. It looks great, and the music is absolutely fabulous this episode. Now let's actually talk about the episode. So I'm going to start off with plot C, which is Max, just because the other two are intertwined and it'd be harder to talk about them separately. So Max's plot is fun. I think Max is great at carrying a plot to herself. I really like Max and Mercer. It's a shame we didn't see Mercer, but last episode was kind of Mercer's plot episode, so we got to see more Max this episode, and it was great. I liked her and Eugene's relationship as it's blossoming, and we got to see kind of more Sebastian and more Pamela. And I did like what they did with Pamela this episode. Basically, Max is like suggesting, hey, we should help the poor, and Pamela just kind of shuts it down. And we are seeing a part of Pamela we haven't seen before, and I just don't like that it's this late in the season and it's such a small thing. We should have seen this by episode 10, I believe, with Pamela, episode 11 when this happened, and we'd have bigger stuff where Pamela's shutting it down. Big bad stuff. But no, it's just like, oh, okay, Pamela, you're a bit of a meanie. I didn't like that. So they ruined Pamela still. Pamela's still like on my bad list of worst villains The Walking Dead's ever had. But I like Sebastian. He came in, and I was expecting him to do a bit more, sadly, against Max. But no, he just kind of came in drunk and just kind of stood there and just left. I didn't like that. So there are some issues, though, with this plot. I did like Max carrying it, and the story was important, and it did lead somewhere. However, I didn't like how a lot of characters that are in Max's plot just are there so people will be like, oh yeah, she's still a thing. Like Magna's there in one scene. You're like, oh, it's Magna. She's in one scene just because, you know, she's been in one episode this entire part, and that's one or two scenes. I didn't like that. Also, I did like, though, on the flip side, Ezekiel's in this part, and I feel like they're definitely setting up Ezekiel to be the new leader of the Commonwealth and taking Maggie's comic ending, just because in this plot, basically, Max is like, okay, so how are we going to spread this news out? And Connie's just doing a little sign thing, and Ezekiel's like, hey, I have like a network of people, I can get it out there. And I like how Ezekiel has built this community inside the Commonwealth, and it's definitely building up to be he's the new leader, which I quite like. This is kind of foundation for the return of King Ezekiel. I really hope they don't call him Governor Ezekiel, just King Ezekiel again. That'd be really cool. But it was a fun time watching Max's plot. I just think it was good. There was lots of issues with it, with a lot of characters just being wasted and being there for their sake, but I did like the plot. There was a few stupid decisions, and it was just a fun time. Now let's talk about the joint plot A's. And first of all, I don't want to talk about Lance because he is on peak this episode and he is great. I really like Lance this episode. He is kind of the best part about this, I feel, with his like flipping the coin, going full sinister. We're getting full evil Lance. I really like that. I don't like, however, they kind of shafted Negan. He was in this episode just to be like, oh, okay, Maggie, you trust me. I liked that scene where Maggie's like, I trust you now, Negan. Like, I can trust you with my son. And like, you saw them actually getting past where Maggie was just terrible to Negan at the start of the season. We actually have some character development between them two, and I liked that moment. And they just shafted him after that, and I thought that's stupid. Come on, why would Maggie refuse help from the people she's trying to hide? Like, if she got everyone the help, you could have maybe done that scene from maybe season 8 where they kind of did that to the Saviors, where they all stood out and they all fired upon the Saviors. They could have done that to the Commonwealth soldiers, but no, they just all abandoned Hilltop, and Maggie refused to have anyone else's help. I also feel the Locusts were just there for their sake. I feel like they should have done something with them. They were just kind of there to make the episode feel different, have background noise. I didn't like the Locusts. They were useless. But on the other side, we were flipping flopping. Leah is absolutely amazing. I think Leah was really good this episode. I really liked her. She had this like Terminator vibe in a certain point in this episode. Basically, they're all just trying to escape the Hilltop, and then Leah just comes out, shoots at them, and you're like, oh, she's basically the Terminator. I thought that was really cool, Leah. However, I didn't like Leah versus Maggie, just because Leah versus Maggie is that you have Leah, this trained like special ops people, just hunting down Maggie. Maggie with a pistol just kind of caps her in the leg easily. I didn't like that. I thought it was stupid. Like, why is Leah's aim so off when it comes to Maggie, when she's able to just shoot someone in the head that easily, where she proves it earlier in the episode, but she can't seem to shoot a still target, which is Maggie, just because Maggie's got a gun. I thought that was stupid. I also think it's mega stupid, and it's just the stupidest thing since episode 13 with Toby, is that Leah, she has a chance to kill Maggie, and what does she do? So she gets Maggie off guard. She could stab her and shoot her. No, she knocks Maggie out just to wait for Maggie to wake up so that they can have another fight. I just thought that was stupid. Her whole point was that she wanted to kill Maggie. She gets a chance to kill Maggie and she doesn't, just because of story reasons. I thought that was so stupid, and it was just really annoying that Leah could have killed Maggie and then she didn't kill her because, you know, Maggie's the hero and Leah's the bad guy, and you know bad guys don't kill the hero. And I just thought it was really stupid. It would have made no sense. It would have made so much more sense if Leah just went bang straight to Maggie. But no, they put Maggie in a situation where Leah could have killed her and Leah just randomly didn't. That really grinded my gears. And I do want to talk about it more, but I want to talk about it later on after I talk about the other plot. The next plot is about Daryl, Aaron and Gabriel, and I quite liked this plot because it was very action heavy, even more action heavy than Maggie's plot. I feel like this was the big action part, Daryl group, and there's a really cool scene where you actually the Commonwealth armor use and actually be worked, right? It actually works. Basically, this soldier gets his arm stuck in a walker, and this walker's biting at his face. However, he's wearing a mask, so he can't bite him. And it just comes to prove how useful the armor is and how annoying Daryl is for not wearing it. He's currently at work. He's a part of the platoon or whatever it's called. He's a part of the group, but what's he doing? Walk around just a black jumper. Why is he not wearing his armor? It really annoys me. I know he's not going to wear it from any point onwards, but why did he never wear the full armor? It really grinds my gears, and it's not explained in the show. We know that we saw Rosita wear the full armor. Why did Daryl not? And it just makes no sense. They should have explained, like, maybe he has a neck injury, maybe he can't. No, it just looks stupid. Or was it something stupid like, oh no, we want people to know that that's Daryl. You can make it easier. Give his armor some blood. Give him a dent in his armor. Don't make it so he looks like a child wearing their dad's like Navy uniform or something. It just looked bad because he wasn't wearing his armor. I did like the fight scenes. They were very good, like especially the junkyard fight scene. And I did like how Lance just sent them off, so like, okay, you need to go kill these 3 people because they're loose ends. And then the annoying part of the fight scene is that these are all trained military officers, okay? And they're surrounding Daryl, Aaron and Gabriel, and not a single one of them can get a proper shot on these 3 people. One's a priest, and one, I think Aaron was a senator's aide before the apocalypse, and Daryl, okay, you can excuse Daryl. How do those 3 people have a better aim than the stormtroopers? I'm going to call them stormtroopers from now on, because the aim was that bad when it comes to main characters where it's stupid. So all these soldiers are behind cover and they can't see them shoot the 3 men that are stood out in the open in the centre of this junkyard. It really annoyed me. The fight scene looked cool, it was fun to watch, but when you think about it, and I noticed that only Aaron gets hit on the shoulder and it's just grazed off, and you're like, okay, so you're saying not a single person gets hit when they're surrounded from all sides. I didn't like it, how it's just like, their armor's so thick, the stormtroopers' bullets bounce off them. I didn't like it. I thought it was stupid. Somebody should have been like critically injured, not slightly grazed at that point. And I just didn't like how easy the stormtroopers, like, I'm going to just call them stormtroopers from now on because they basically are, just were killed that quickly from these 3 people. I just thought it was stupid. It was fun to watch, it was cool to look at, but it was just stupid if you think about it. I'd also mention that Daryl and Gabriel get shafted for yet another episode. I want to see more of these characters, but it focuses on characters I don't really like. Going back to Maggie's plot, I am happy they're giving more to Lydia because she desperately needs it, but I don't like Elijah. I think his point's useless, and I think his purpose is gone. Like, he should have died at the Reaper because his story's over. And bringing Lydia back, okay, you could have kept him around, but I feel like he should have died again this episode because he has nothing to do. They're trying to put him with Lydia, but there's no chemistry between them. You barely see Lydia enough to care about any of these characters. I just don't like it. It's just, you have a lot of characters here which you could change out of other characters and use the same lines, and it would work. I just didn't like how interchangeable a lot of these characters were. If your name wasn't Maggie or Daryl, every other character was kind of interchangeable, and I just thought it was really stupid, and I didn't like that. Now let's go back to Lydia vs Maggie Mark II, the second fight. And I really hate this fight because it felt so stupid. So Lydia didn't kill Maggie the first time because Lydia apparently wants to make Maggie feel sad. She wants to kill everyone Maggie knows. You could just kill Maggie first and then do it, but no. She ties Maggie up with her hands behind her back. Obviously Maggie's going to escape. Obviously Lydia's going to sit right in front of Maggie. So when Maggie escapes, she can immediately grab the gun. I thought that was just really stupid. I didn't like the fight overall just because Lydia, a fully trained, like, special ops character, like, Marine, gets overcome originally by Maggie, who just slashes at her, and I'm like, oh, come on. We know that Maggie would have had nothing against Lydia. Lydia would just take her out. I just didn't like it. The fight was just stupid. For stupid sake, they wanted a Lydia Maggie Mark II, because obviously Lydia didn't kill Maggie, which was a whole thing in the previous episode, why she joined Lance. I didn't like it. I thought it was really stupid. But then Lydia gets the best of Maggie and actually ends up winning the fight and slashes at Maggie, injures Maggie. And I like when main characters get injured because it makes them feel like they don't have plot armor. And Maggie's had the thickest plot armor so far this season, so it's good to see Maggie get bested and get injured. I wish she got slightly more injured though, like how Daryl was basically near death by the time Lydia found her in, like, after the Alpha fight. I wanted that to happen when Daryl come by and find Maggie like that. But no, she just gets punched a lot and stabbed a bit. I wished it was slightly more, just so the plot armor was ever so thicker, because I like when characters are nearly about to die, then be saved last minute. This is also the point where Daryl comes by and ends the situation, and I thought it was very sudden. I kind of liked it, but it was just like, well, it's kind of obvious because it set up the situation. How's it going to end? It was sudden. It was liked. However, it was obvious it was going to happen, so I didn't really like it. It was okay. It was a mixed bag. I liked it, but didn't like it, is what I'm saying. It was okay. Now let's get to the actual ending. And wow, this ending is good. So we have some amazing music playing, and it basically ends with Lance just taking over the 3 communities. I don't know what's happened to all the people of the 3 communities. I like how we're seeing our heroes at their worst peak this season, basically. Now, this is going to be some spoilers, but the exact ending, the right at the end, we see Lance flip his coin, a lot like Two-Face from the Batman comics. And we see him like, is he going to kill the people at Oceanside? And I thought that was really cool. However, it cuts away before we find out if it's head or tails. And I thought that's really stupid. It felt like the season 6 final, like, oh, they're going to kill people at Oceanside. We don't care enough because there's no one at Oceanside. If they had Luke there, or maybe a character we cared about, that would be a cool cliffhanger to be like, oh, is this character going to die because of head or tails? Nope, it was just all blank. I thought it was really stupid. It was just a cut. It was a cool moment that they kind of cut off slightly too early. It should have been like, he looks at his card or coin, and he's like, kill. Then cut away. That would have been cool, and maybe the credits could have hid gunfire, and over the credits you could just hear screaming and gunfire. That would have been a really cool ending. I do also want to talk about the lack of any major deaths. We've had one death in 16 episodes of season 11, and this is the final season. Why is no one dying? I feel like Aaron should have died in the junkyard, or Elijah at the Hilltop. We should have had some deaths, but no major deaths. We got no Dwight death. I'm really annoyed. We're 16 episodes in, and the biggest character death is Alden, and his was an afterthought. It just really sucks how there's no deaths for the final season. It just really ruins the show, because I'm looking for deaths. As it's the final season, characters need to die, and with only 8 episodes left, I better see major deaths almost every episode or something, because if we're getting 1 death more, or 2 deaths more, I will be so annoyed for the lack of deaths for the final season. This is the final season. We're not going to see any of these characters. Just kill them off. Don't just give characters we don't care about. The cast is too big. You have characters you completely dropped. We haven't seen Yumiko since episode 10. Magna, she was in one scene this episode just so we remembered that she existed. Carol's done basically nothing. Judith and Argie's done basically nothing. Gracie's done basically nothing. That woman who used to be the Arrow girl, she went to the Hilltop, she's done nothing. They have a cast that's too big. Just kill people off. You obviously have too much cast to tell this story. Why did they not die in the Reaper arc? I have a massive issue with the lack of deaths this season, and this episode just exacerbates that situation where there should have been deaths this episode, and there wasn't. That really annoyed me. So let's move on to my one word overall review. And this episode has some big issues. There are some really stupid for stupid's sake. There are some like really big moments that should have happened. This episode has so much potential, and it ruins quite a lot of the potential. So I couldn't say this is a perfect episode or the best episode. This is up there with the best episodes this season, but it's not one of the best episodes since season 9. Season 9 is one of the peaks for me. And this is not season 9 levels of quality. I would compare any new Walking Dead with season 9, and it's nothing near that. This is like early season 10 qualities for me, this episode. It was fun, it was action-packed, it was well-paced. However, big moments happened, which were stupid because they shouldn't have happened, because the characters just made stupid decisions to make those moments happen. Moments felt forced. I didn't like it. There should have been character deaths. I didn't like the ending too much, because we should have seen if it was head or tails. So I would say this is a good episode, not a great episode because of all the issues. It's a good episode. It's a fun time. It's watchable. Please tell me down below, what do you think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you think the ending was good? Did you think the ending was bad? What do you think about Daryl's situation he had to do? Like, do you think there should have been a big character death this episode? Do you think maybe Leah should have maybe killed Elijah or something? Or do you think Aaron should have died this episode? He was shot, but he didn't die. That does kind of push towards my theory that Aaron's going to die still, because out of all the characters at the graveyard, or not the graveyard, sorry, the junkyard, Aaron's the one to be shot, and he's the character that's always been shot at. We never saw Gabriel get shot at. Aaron's the one who shot, which I definitely think is more foreshadowing to his death. I think that's definitely happened. Episode 17 or 18, Aaron is going to die. But please tell me down below, what do you think about that? And if you want more Walking Dead content, look on the screen for more reviews, discussions, theories, or anything. And subscribe if you want more Walking Dead content. But this is it for me today. So goodbye, peace out, and I'll talk to you at a later date.